Sheffield United 1, Manchester City 2, and this team is just inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. Man City, Assassin FC as I call them, find a way to win the football match. And that's always what you got to do in life, right? It's only about the 3 points in football. And Man City were good today. I don't think they were bad at all. I know Pep Guardiola wasn't there in attendance due to his surgery, and we wish him the best to get well soon, of course. But he wasn't there. But I think he would know himself. Man City weren't bad today whatsoever. They just could not put the ball in the back of net for whatever reason that first half, even going into the second half. Erling Haaland missed a penalty, which I mean is a collector's item. That barely happens. Then they found a way, obviously, to score that goal, make it 1-0. And at that point, I'm thinking, like they held on that long, Sheffield United, but they just couldn't quite keep Man City out. And they're just inevitable. But I said during the game as well, it got to the 80th minute, right? And I was watching the game and I said to my mates, and I said to my dad as well, I said, look, there's 10 minutes to go. If you told Sheffield United, right, that with 10 minutes to go, you've got a chance to beat Man City, or you're only 1-0 down against Man City with 10 minutes to go, they would have taken that. Because anything can happen in the last 10 minutes. You saw Arsenal yesterday to Fulham concede 10 men Fulham in the last 10 minutes. Anything can happen. And lo and behold, Sheffield United scored. And I could not believe it. From one of their few ventures forward all game, they're able to get on the score sheet and score a goal. And I'm thinking, oh my days, Sheffield United have scored. Can they get a point here against Man City? But no. Down the other end, Rodri, absolute clinical finish. And he gives Man City the 3 points. And look, this team's going to win the Premier League title, man. Because they're the only team in the Premier League right now that you can compare to Assassins. The only team. They're going to get they're going to win the Premier League because they're going to get 3 points on a consistent enough basis to win the league. Games like this where they're struggling, they will find a way to win. That's just how it is. They will blow teams out the park 90% of matches. And in the 10% that they won't, they will still find a way to win that football match. And that's Man City in a nutshell. They're the only team to go 9 points out of 9 to start the season. Arsenal, Brighton obviously both dropped points this weekend already. Man City soar straight back to the top of the Premier League table and have already built themselves a 2-point cushion. So look, guys, I mean, it is what it is, right? Man City, I think they actually played really well in this game. They couldn't quite put the ball in the back of net. Many would see the score and go, wow, Man City got really lucky. They scored like last second with Rodri. Not at all. I thought Man City were by far the better team today. Sheffield United hung in there, to be fair to them. Man City just had the juju on the goal. Haaland just could not score for some reason in that first half, especially. He had so many, he had 4 clear-cut on-target chances and, of course, missed a penalty as well. But in that second half, when the chances fell, they managed to do enough to win the game. And that's all that matters, right? Because whether you win 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-0, it doesn't matter. As long as you win the match, you get the 3 points. And Man City today won 2-1. They created more enough chances to win this game by 4 or 5 goals, but they took enough chances to win this game. And the good thing about Man City is, at least in their point of view, is they do not concede goals. And that's the important thing for them. I feel like teams like Arsenal, for example, we're so vulnerable to conceding goals, especially at home. Whereas Man City, because their defense is so rock solid, yes, they might concede a goal, but even that will be that'll be a fluke occurrence. They rarely ever concede 2 goals in one game. So Man City at 2-1, the game was over. Sheffield United had a good chance at 2-1. I mean, I can't remember what the guy's name was, the guy off the bench. He tried to like kung fu scissor kick it into the goal. If he just went with his head, he could have made it 2-2. But it's a rare occurrence to see Man City concede more than 1 goal in a football game. They barely concede a goal at all. So, look, for the Man City fans travelling back home after this one, they'll be delighted. They've got the 3 points. For the rest of the fans around the league that support any other club, you're just going to sit there and you just got a bitter taste in your mouth. As an Arsenal fan, I've got a very bitter taste in my mouth because this is the game that you could see Man City dropping points in. Not at the start of the game. I thought at the start of the game would be clear-cut Man City win. Sheffield United, I think, are doomed to go down. But the way the match transpired, the way Man City were missing so many gilt-edged chances where you're sitting there going, how have they missed this? They didn't have their shooting boots on. You see Haaland miss a penalty. You see Sheffield United equalise in the 86th, 87th minute. Everything's materialising into like a banana peel, fluke result, shock result. But then they still find a way to win the game. That is like a gut punch for any fan of any other team, like especially Arsenal fans that have got aspirations to try and win the league title this season. To see us concede the last second goal basically to Fulham, 10 men Fulham yesterday, to then watch Man City concede the last minute goal as well, but then still go on to find the winner, it just hurts on so many different levels. And look, this team's going to win the Premier League again, man. They will. They're just so good, Man City. Like, you can't, how do you stop them? Like, over a 95, 99-minute game, especially with the injury, with the World Cup injury time nowadays, you're defending them against them for 100 minutes. How do you stop Man City? How do you keep them out for that long? You're going to need an awful lot of luck. I've said it before on this channel. Beating Man City is not only playing to the best of your ability. It's not only defending brilliantly. It's not only not making mistakes. It's not only attacking brilliantly. It's having a slice of luck along the way. And Sheffield United obviously had some luck with Haaland missing the penalty and, of course, scoring the goal as well. It taken a nick off the defender. And Carl Walker, I don't know what he was thinking, trying to keep that ball back in play. But then again, the luck deserted you at the end as well when Rodri scored an absolute clinical finish into the top corner, man. What a banger of a goal. Rodri's come up trumps for Man City in the big moments. Scored in the Champions League final and again today with a goal into the top corner. And look, Man City go 9 for 9. They've got I want to say an easy, friendly run of fixtures to start the season. But away games always can be difficult, especially going to a newly promoted side. You know the fans are going to be up for it. It's the start of the season. They've still got some side of optimism to them. But Man City took them out of the game, man. It was a convincing victory. Jeff, appreciate John Stream, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Sheffield scored too soon after scuffling for 80 minutes. I had no doubt Man City would score a second goal. Yeah, myself as well included, right? I celebrated when Sheffield United made it 1-1, but I looked at the clock and I was there. Yeah, they got 5 minutes plus at least 9 minutes of added time, I reckon. They've got 15 minutes to find a winner. It's Man City. They will find a winner. You've got faith in them finding that goal, and that is the difference. You talk about how you have to play well and defend well and attack well. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is winning that football game. Man City today, I actually thought played very well. They just could not put the ball in the back of net. But when it mattered most, they scored in the key moments. They got their 2 goals and they won the game. And because the defense is so solid and the foundation is brilliant, they don't need to score 3 or 4 goals to win the games like Arsenal do. They just need to bag 1 or 2 goals and the defense will take over themselves because they will not concede more than 1 goal a Premier League game for the majority of games this season because their defense is that solid. Whereas when you look at Arsenal, for example, we're always vulnerable to leak goals. So we have to score 3 or 4 to convincingly win a football match. That is the difference right now. Man City knew at 1-1, no panic. Kept the composure and they still found a way to win that football match. And they got more dangerous after conceding. That is a really good football team. Luca, appreciate joining you, my friend as well. Hope you're doing well. City didn't do well. I actually thought City played well, to be fair. We're very lucky. I don't think so. Look, you could say it's lucky given they scored last second goal, but Man City were dominant this whole football match. Haaland missed a penalty. They had chance after chance after chance. I don't know the game statistics. I can actually search up. Sheffield United 1-2 Man City. Let's see the stats for the game. I guarantee it was one-way traffic. Okay, so here's the stats for anyone that thinks Man City were lucky, right? Sheffield United had 6 shots. Man City had 30 shots. Sheffield United had 2 on target. Man City had 9 on target. And City had 80% possession. So I don't think there was any element of luck to it. You could say it was lucky because Man City scored last second. But for me, I thought it was a convincing victory for Man City in the end in terms of the performance-wise. Obviously, result-wise doesn't look it. But I think performance-wise, they were well worth the 3 points. They definitely deserved it. But look, it's one thing deserving it. It's another thing executing it. There's been plenty of matches where one team's deserved the result, but the other team's won. It's all about what you do to get that final result. It's all about getting to the end result, getting to the end of the mountain, getting across the finish line. It doesn't matter how you do it, but just get there. And Man City found a way today. They weren't at their free-flowing best in turn. They weren't clinical by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of their players were missing their shooting boots. But they scored when it mattered most. And Rodri did exactly that, man. Ball falls him on the edge of the box and bang. Right foot finish, top corner. No keeper on planet Earth saves it. Clinical finish. And look, that's a good result for Man City. Away from home to grind out a win like that. Scoring in the last few minutes. That's not only a real big win for Man City, it's a gut punch for the other teams that are trying to compete for the title as well. The likes of the Arsenals, the Man United, etc. When you see a team like Man City do that, where they're not at their best, luck is deserting them. They're missing chances they should have. They're conceding last seconds. To see them still find a way to win a football match, it just hurts any other team involved, right? Did you know we could be 5 points behind City next week before United? We need to beat United. Yeah, of course, we do need to beat Manchester United, especially after drawing today. It's very early in the season, but still, you don't want to be playing catch-up, especially to Man City, because the form they can go on, they can completely take any other team out of the equation. They're that good at times, Man City. Really went through that comment. I'm worried about against Man United. Luca, don't be too worried about against Man United, man. I think, look, United obviously will be a tough game. They're a good team, but we're at home at the Emirates. We need to bounce back. We need to find a way to win that football match. If we revert to the tactics we've been playing last season, I think we'll be okay. Burnley too had some moments early in the second half, but Aston Villa had control. Otherwise, yeah, Aston Villa won. Was it 3-1 or 4-1? I wasn't too sure. I know Diaby made it 3-1. I wasn't keeping up with the game after that to see if it finished any further than that. I could check the Premier League results. I wasn't too interested in that game, to be completely honest with you. So that game finished 3-1 as well. 2 goals from Matty Cash and a goal from Moussa Diaby. But yeah, Burnley have lost 2 in a row now. Obviously, they missed their game against Luton Town, because Luton Town still had to have renovations to their stadium. But yeah, Aston Villa going on another win. So they bounced back well after losing to Newcastle, to be fair to them. But for Man City, guys, look, they've won 3 games in a row, 9 points out of 9. They've already beaten a team like Newcastle, which is always a tough game as well. What are Man City going to do this season? Probably going to win the league again. Are they going to go and what's their aims for Man City? How do they top last season? Is it winning the quadruple? Is that even like probable? I don't think it's possible, obviously, to win the quadruple for Man City. But is that probable to win all 4 competitions? I'm not too sure. Either way for Man City, they've won another football match. And that's all that matters, man, because you can have the big aspirations of winning the title or getting top 4 or stay or not getting relegated, right? Like, for example, Sheffield United. But it's a game-by-game basis. You play a game, you analyze it, you play your next game. That's it. You're going to step-by-step basis. I promise you guys, I've not looked at the Premier League table once this whole season. Hand on heart, I haven't. I've not opened my phone to search up the Premier League table all season because it's early stages, right? Last season, I was checking the Premier League table all the time from match week 1 throughout the season. After every game, I'd be like, what's the Premier League table saying? What's the Premier League table saying? But now I've realized, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do in the first 20 games. It's all about what you do in the last 10, 15 that matters. Arsenal, the first 20 games last season were superb, damn near flawless. But in the last 15, crumbled. Man City turned it up in the last 10, 15 games. So for me, the first, up until you get to about match week 7 or 8, the table doesn't really matter, man. You've got West Ham top of the table right now. They almost got relegated last season. So I wouldn't be looking at the table too heavy, to be honest with you guys. It's all about form and performances on the football pitch. And results like this do go a long way, trust me. Because winning football matches are important. But the manner in which you win football matches, that is the type of momentum you can take going forward. If Man City won this game 3 or 4-0, like everyone expected before the match, it wouldn't have changed the complexion of Man City differently. I would not have sat here and gone, yeah, Man City won 3-4-0. It's what I expected. It's the way Man City won this football match that gives me a real bitter taste in my mouth as an Arsenal fan. Because I watched a Man City team that played well, but were struggling to score goals. Played well, but were missing penalties. Played well, but conceded the last-second goal. Yet despite all that, found a way to win this football match. And that is what hurts most. It doesn't hurt when your rivals win games that they deserve to win and they're by far the better team and blow the team out the park. It hurts when your rivals win games where they were 2 minutes from losing them or 2 minutes from dropping points. That's when it really hurts. And that was the case today for me and any other rival fan watching this. Man City, once again, are just inevitable. Assassin FC. And that's the worst possible part about it. But another thing about Man City is, right, yeah? They are notoriously slow starters, Man City. Last season, I don't think they were at their best to start the season. But around March time, I remember after they drew to Nottingham Forest, Man City really clicked into gear. And from then on, they just hit flow state. And they were just absolutely flying since then. Man City have seemed to start the season very well. Very well. The win against Burnley was convincing. The win against Newcastle the other day was a 1-0 win, but I still think it was a convincing victory. They deserved the win. And again today, a convincing victory in terms of performance. Obviously, result will say otherwise, but I did think they deserved the win. So Man City are flying right now. As I said, they've got 9 points out of 9. The only team in the Premier League to do that. They've already opened up a 2-point gap at the top of the table. But it's the same point I've made in previous seasons, right? You can't always expect a team to just win the Premier League season in, season out. It doesn't work like that. No team's won the Premier League 4 seasons in a row. Man City are looking too good for everyone else right now. I think Arsenal yesterday, that was a real eye-opener that Arsenal aren't quite at the level that Man City are at. Because Man City would not have conceded last second to 10 men like Arsenal did. I know they conceded today with a sloppy Kyle Walker mistake, but still, Man City still found a way to win that football match afterwards. Do you get what I mean? Whereas Arsenal didn't. So I think it was a real eye-opener that there is still a notable gap between Arsenal and Man City, unfortunately. But you can't keep expecting Man City to win the title year in, year out. Because if you had to ask me right now who's winning the title, I'm saying Man City. But I said Man City the past few seasons as well. So are Man City just going to win the Premier League title every season? I don't think so. So they're going to have to drop off eventually. But the question is, when? Because a drop-off, I can't see it happening. No one can see it happening. But I guess that's the whole point of a drop-off, right? No one expects it. It just comes out of nowhere. They just fall off a cliff. But the question is, when's that going to happen? Because it's not looking likely at any point, really. It would have been harsh, but I thought it was possible Sheffield United's goal could have been ruled out. Ederson collided on his dive with an offside Sheffield United player. I hear you, but I think the goal should have stood purely because the player that I know he was offside, but he didn't actually block the shot. He wasn't intervening with the actual line of the ball. It actually deflected off the defender's foot and went over Ederson. And look, I'm an Arsenal fan. I wanted the goal to count. I'm not going to lie to you. But yeah, it would have been harsh to disallow it. I think it was the right decision to allow it. But still, it doesn't matter, man. Man City will still find a way to win that football match. But really, the ball was already past him. Yeah, exactly. Look, the deflection was more of the damage than the offside player, to be fair. So, yeah, I was happy the goal stood. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, but it didn't really matter at the end of the day. Man City, being the Man City they are, still found a way to win that football match. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in live chat as well. Anyone else watching? What's your aspirations of Man City? What's your aspirations for Sheffield United? Are Sheffield United staying in the Premier League this season? I think they're going down with Luton Town. But performances like this, look, it's all about how Sheffield United take this performance, right? Because When you lose games like this, it can always be a very, very damaging because you stayed in the game so long, but you still found a way to lose that football match, and it can really, really hurt. I spoke about Wolves against Manchester United, right? Where Wolves were so good on the opening day against Manchester United, but still lost that football match. And I said, look, don't leave that stadium with your heads held down because you can take a lot of promise from that game. Lo and behold, they went into their next game against Brighton and got absolutely demolished. So clearly they took that Man United result to heart. Sheffield United today cannot take this result to heart. You lost to Man City. You lost to a last-minute goal. But it is Man City, a team that will beat every team in the Premier League this season. I'm convinced. They're not going to go unbeaten, but they will beat every team in the Premier League this season at least once. I'm convinced of it. They have to. It's Man City at the end of the day. But you played really well. Like, obviously your attacking outlet didn't exist, but you're playing Man City. You're going to defend most of the game. But you defended very resolutely, and you kept them at bay. Obviously, if Man City had their shooting boots on, the game probably would have been out of sight before you had a chance to equalise. But you stayed inside that football match. So with Sheffield United, you've got a lot of positives to take. If you keep defending like that and keep putting your bodies on the line and keep definitely being organised and not making mistakes, you can make it tough for any opponent because this is the hardest game you'll play all season. Playing Man City at home and playing Man City away are the toughest two games you'll play all season. And you've already done one of those games off the checklist. Yes, obviously the start of the season hasn't been great. You've obviously lost to Crystal Palace, drop points obviously to who they played last week, Nottingham Forest as well, and now of course Man City. But there's some positives to take. And if you're Sheffield United, right, no one's expecting much of you. Many expecting you, myself included, to go straight back down with Luton Town. So use that to your advantage. Use the fact that many aren't expecting you to do well to your advantage. Use the fact that many expecting you to not stay in the Premier League to your advantage and learn from it, man, because a lot of these players are their first time in the Premier League. So they've got to learn from every single game they play. And Man City obviously is the toughest game you'll play, but it's the steepest learning curve you can get. You can learn a lot of lessons from it. It should make them feel like at home anyway, they can compete with anyone. Exactly my point. Take a lot of solace from this. That's the main thing. Because this was not an easy game against Man City. It's the toughest game you'll play. If you play like that and stay organised, you can be tough against any team. Because when you are a team that's obviously been promoted, you're not expected to dominate the football. Sheffield United didn't come into this game thinking they're going to have 50, 60% of the possession. They had 20%. And even then, I'm not going to lie, they could have had less. They genuinely could have had less. The main thing was be effective with the football. You don't have to have it's not about quality. Sorry, it's not about quantity. It's about quality for Sheffield United. And I thought at times they did have quality. They were very direct. Get the ball into the box. The game plan was simple. Long throws, corners, set pieces. Get it inside the box as soon as possible. But it works. And they got a goal from that. So Sheffield United, if you keep that up, you'll have a good chance against any team. Sean, I appreciate joining the stream, my friend. Hope you're doing well. My Cash saved my FPL game week. Still first on your league. There we go, man. Anyone else that wants to join my FPL league is on my community post. Feel free to join it. So yeah, I think there's about 6, 7, 8 people right now. But you are top of the table, correct? I have not changed my team since week 1. I cannot lie. I have not checked it. But yeah, Matty Cash scored 2 goals today. Big up him for that. Haaland, anyone that triple captained Haaland? Obviously he scored, but he missed a penalty as well. So that's just one of those things. But if you do want to join my FPL league, check out my community tab. It's there. You'll find the code and the link to join. But look, what's your guys' thoughts on Erling Haaland, by the way? Because Erling Haaland obviously missed his penalty today. He also missed a few other good chances, but he eventually found a way to score. And that's the thing about Erling Haaland, right? And any top player in that sense. They don't let missed chances get to their head. If anything, it riles them up to score later down the line. Erling Haaland is a presence. He is an absolute animal assassin where you cannot leave him unmarked for too long in the game. You have to be on your best behavior and alert at all times. And I thought Man City at times could have put him in a few more moments. I think it was either at 2-1 or 1-0 or 1-1. I can't remember. Either way, Grealish had the ball, right? And Haaland made a gut-busting run straight down the middle of the pitch. And Grealish didn't play him. And I was watching it and I was seeing it unfold. I was seeing Haaland making the run. And I was like, just play that ball and it's gonna be game over. But he doesn't. And I'm sitting there thinking, boy, this guy Haaland is actually an animal. He lets nothing get to his head. And how do you stop him? Because Haaland is a complete striker. He's fast. He's quick. Sorry, fast, quick, same words. He's fast. He's strong. He can link up play. He scored today with his head. Against a physical back three, he scored with a header. You would have thought if Man City had to score today, you would not have expected a header. But Erling Haaland gets a lot of headers. Because if the quality's right, as it will be with someone like Jack Grealish, who will put the ball on the money, then you're going to get goals from Haaland because he is that absolute beast in the box. And other teams lack that. Arsenal lack that for sure. We don't have a clinical tool striker up front. Obviously, Man United got Rasmus Højlund, but will he be at the same level as Haaland? Who knows, man? And then, of course, you've also got teams like Liverpool. They haven't got a clinical tall striker up front. So if you want to compete with Man City, you need a complete striker. And very few teams have that. Look, Man City, for all their seasons in the Premier League, have not had a complete striker up front. Now they've got it in Erling Haaland. And he's just taken them up a complete other gear. So, look, it's just one of those things, man. He's just an absolute inevitable human being, Haaland. He will find a way to score. And whenever you think it's too safe, that's when you should be most worried. He just had to be thinking finally when he scored. Exactly. That was his facial expression, right? He was there like, he let out a breath of air thinking, oh my God, at long last, I managed to score. And of course, to be fair, a fan from the crowd jumped on him. So that was a cool moment. I think Haaland was really cool about it as well. He went to hug the fan that jumped on him. So yeah, that was a really good moment. But look, when Haaland missed, I'm sure all the Twitter fanboys out there would have been like, oh, the Prime curse, signing with the Prime energy drink, etc. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Haaland still finds a way to get on the score sheet. That's 3 goals now in 3 games for him. What is Haaland's goal tally this season? I think he's bagging 30 again. If he stays fit, I think Haaland's getting 30 goals. I genuinely do believe so. I think, believe it or not, he took actually quite a while to get integrated into this Man City squad. There was a period last season where he was getting a hat-trick every game, but he was still only touching the ball like 6 or 7 times. It was crazy. Like in the first half, he was touching the ball maybe 5 times, and one of them would be kickoff. Yet he was still being so effective despite his so few touches on the ball. Guys, I don't think you understand, right? Playing a 45-minute half and touching the ball 5 or 6 times is crazy. You're going like 6, 7, 8 minutes without touching the football. You're sitting there thinking, what is going on? You're just watching the game like a fan for 8 minutes at a time. It's absolutely crazy, but he still finds a way, despite that, to be so effective. Despite the fact that he's not getting constant touches. He might even be rusty when the ball gets to his feet, but he still finds a way to be so effective and so clinical. So for Haaland, he's just that guy, man. He just is him. So if Man City keep him fit, they will win the title convincingly again, I believe. Even without Haaland, I think they'll win the title, to be honest with you guys. Because Alvarez even can be stuck up front and be effective. Haaland, no, one thing I will say, I don't attempt it. I don't wish injury on anyone. Haaland at Borussia Dortmund always had an injury. I don't know what it was, but he always found a way to get injured. At Man City, that hasn't happened thus far. Haaland had a little injury last season during the international break, and it kept him out against Liverpool. But Haaland has yet to have a proper long-term injury. I don't wish any injury on him, but you can't stay fit for that long if you're Haaland, man. Obviously, because of his height and his build, he is going to be susceptible to some kind of injuries just because he's so tall, and taller players are more likely to suffer injuries, especially like hamstring injuries, etc. So for Haaland to stay fit another season, especially playing the amount of games he does, because Man City go far in the majority of competitions, if not all of them, it's going to take a monster effort. Now, obviously, Pep Guardiola is very smart of his Haaland management. He takes him off after 60, 70 minutes. He does that pretty much most games because he knows he doesn't want to tire out Haaland. But for him to stay fit a full season, that would be a really good job from Haaland again. And if he does, I'm predicting 30 goals at the very least. I don't think he'll get more goals than last season, but I think he's getting at least 30, man. In my opinion, at least. But yeah, even if they don't have Haaland, they're still equally, well, not equally as effective, but they're still very effective with Julian Alvarez up front. You saw that game against Liverpool last season when they won 4-1. They looked just as good with Alvarez. If anything, they looked better because everyone was chipping in on the act. It wasn't just a Haaland show. It was everyone getting involved. They looked like the Man City of the old. And let's not forget, without a proven goal scorer up front, Man City have still won the Premier League title before multiple times, whether it be Gabriel Jesus or whether it be Ferran Torres up front. It didn't matter. They still would find a way to win the Premier League title. Haaland is just that X factor that you need for the cup competitions, especially because Man City over a 38-game season, over a marathon season, will win because it's regression to the mean. It's just like if I 1v1 LeBron James in a basketball match to 1 point, I could win because he could just check me and I get very lucky with a shot off the bounce. But if I 1v1 LeBron James to 21 points, I ain't winning this. I ain't winning that game. Absolutely not. Because the chance of that happening is slim to basically 0.0005% or something crazy like that. With Man City, right, over a 38-game season, the chance of them winning the Premier League title is extraordinarily high because they are going to be the most consistent team out there. But on a one-off game, whether it be a Champions League final or an FA Cup knockout game, anything can happen because of one-off games. Who knows? Sheffield United were 4 minutes away from winning this game, obviously, plus added time. Sorry, 4 minutes away from drawing this game, plus added time. So anything can happen over an extended period. So if you are Man City, right, you just got to keep your consistency. And if you're other teams around, you just got to keep up with the pace. Arsenal obviously are now behind Man City because we drew yesterday. Obviously, Man City are ahead of the pack by 2 points clear of the second closest teams. And they've got to keep that advantage. If you're the teams behind Man City, that's one of the worst teams to be behind because they are so good at just going on terrific runs where you cannot stop them and just get win after win after win, bulldozing through the competition. And you blink and suddenly it goes from a 2-point gap to a 5-point gap to a 10-point gap. And then it's basically game over. But anything can happen. I remember not last season, the season before, Man City still won the Premier League, but they were like 10, 15 points clear at Christmas time. Liverpool signed Luis Diaz, and the Premier League title still went to the final day. So anything can happen in the Premier League, right? You can still get some kind of inconsistencies, and teams can lose momentum at times. It's all about keeping pace. That's what I always say. Just like Sheffield United today. Sheffield United today were the second best team for the majority of the football match. But with 10 minutes to go, they stayed in the football game and they found a way to obviously equalize. Man City still went down the other end and scored. But if you told the Sheffield United fans that with 10 minutes to go, you're only 1-0 down to Man City, they would have taken that. Because anything could happen in the last 10 minutes. That's got to be the same mentality with Arsenal, Manchester United, and any other team chasing Man City. Stay within touching distance of Man City with 5-6 games to go, and you got to give yourselves a chance. That's the main thing. You can't go into the final 5-10 games of the season and you're 10 points behind Man City, then it's basically game over. But going to the last 5 games of the season and you're 2 points behind Man City or ahead of Man City or level, you got to give yourself a chance. Obviously, Man City will still be favourites, but you got to give yourselves a chance. And that's the main thing. I feel like Arsenal, we obviously were favourites to win the title last season from like the midway point in terms of points basis. And we still were. But then as soon as Man City built some momentum, as soon as Man City went ahead of us in the table, we didn't keep the touching distance. We just completely fell away from the football match. So completely fell away in the season and let Man City run away with it and win the title. So much so they won the title with what? 2-3 games spare. And that's going to be the most irritating thing. Keep with them because you never know what can happen in the last few games. Keep the pressure up because who knows? But yeah, I'm going to start to round up the stream now. I'm going Newcastle 3-2 in the next match. Yes, I will be streaming straight after Newcastle versus Liverpool on the chance to make sure you hit the bell notification button and subscribe so you do not miss it. My score prediction is going to be a Newcastle victory as well. I'm going to go for a 4-2 Newcastle win. But Liverpool got good form against Newcastle. They did the double against them last season, so anything can happen. But I'm going to go for a 4-2 Newcastle win. So it'll probably be 1-0 Liverpool. Who knows, man? Who knows? But I appreciate everyone that's tuning into the stream. If you want to hear all about my thoughts, scroll right back to the start so you do not miss anything. Equally, if you want to stay tuned around here, make sure you subscribe. My next stream will be straight after Newcastle versus Liverpool later today, and I will be discussing, of course, that game as well as any other news in the world of football, including Salah's potential departure to Saudi Arabia. I'm my football. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe down below, drop a like down below on the stream, and I hope to catch you all in my next one. Take care.